Today I'm finally getting my treaded tire on my one wheel. I have this Hoosier right here. It's going on my 4209, and then I also have some lifesavers which are going on these rims, because lately I've been popping a lot of curbs and other drops, and I really need some protection on the rims because I don't want to destroy them and make sure that I have to buy a new one. So let's do this. Alright, so apparently the bumper, the float plate and the connection has to be loosened up to be able to get that tire off there. I've never done that. Lars is very experienced in this stuff, and he also has a lot of material. Since we have been living in a bus for a while, I don't have any materials available, and he's here to help me out. So thanks, Lars, for today. Box opens up.
Then disconnecting the foot pad, just so it's out of the way. And now this can be put to the side. One of the most common mistakes I see made when changing a tire is they plug this connector back into the wrong hole. And I don't understand why, since it's color coded, but I see that happen a lot, and the one wheel doesn't like that.
Yellow goes to yellow for the ones in doubt. So disconnecting the plugs of the motor. And what's the other one?
This one is the Hall sensor plug, if I'm not mistaken, and then this one provides power to the motor.
Okay.
Then the next step is to remove the rail guards, if you have them, from future motion.
Yeah, they kind of forgot to add the holes, and we cannot access the screws, and we need to undo them, so I will need to remove this protection.
The misery of this is that the glue always remains behind the plastic, so then you have to remove that separately.
Yeah. So these have to be removed too. The little screws have to go in order to get the wheel out. I'm actually building my 4209 into a trail machine. I also have the varials coming, and with that threaded tire, that should be ideal to get that machine shredding in the trails. And the other one wheel, this one, will be the trick one wheel. The cable tie goes out from the rail. So also the hub bolts have to go in order to loosen the whole motor, and then eventually we can get the tire off. As you can see, Lars has pulled this thing apart.
So when you remove the wheel but leave the battery cable, always let the rails lower down so you don't pinch this cable, and then look out for this one because it actually seats, as you can see, inside of the rail. So when you take it out, just be a bit careful not to damage it.
Now we're gonna let the air out.
And now it's time to break the beats.
Break the beats. If he talks about breaking beats, I think about dancing on a techno party, something like that, so I'm curious. So this is for protection?
Yes, this is to protect the rim, because otherwise, like the damage you have here, you will get a lot more damage from it scraping the floor and scraping on the wood. And then you just put 2 wood blocks underneath it. You put the connection for the hub right in the center, make sure the cable is out of the way, so it's sitting onto the rim. Then you take a wood beam and you just kick it down as hard as you can to break the tire loose. And there you go.
There we have it.
The rest you can just push off by hand, so that's loose, and then you turn it around to do the other side. And there you go, first try.
Nice one.
As you can see, there's green slime inside from future motion, but we're gonna clean that up. If you push the rim in, there's this little dip inside here. Here's a little dip, and you can actually use that to put the tire in there while you pull it over.
Let's get the the tire on there. I've never done this, so don't shoot me if it doesn't work. Do I need to take the direction of the tire into account, or is this universal?
The Hoosier tires are universal.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so the cable through. Get this thing over this hub. Let's see how that works.
Best is going in at a 45-degree angle on the hub.
On the hub, alright.
Yeah, like that. There we go.
Now push it all the way.
The exact same. I find it the easiest if you get one side underneath, then put your knee on here so it stays there, and with your hands walk the rest of the tire till it's in its place.
Okay, so push it under there. Yes. So the tire is on there, quite the workout, and Lars just mentioned that this is even a harder job. So we're gonna do it 2 persons and see how easy that goes. But I'm learning so that I can do this stuff myself in the future. The intention is to get these things on the rims so we have a good protection when we drop, and if this thing would hit the tarmac or something, that this at least is protected and that we don't get any chips on there. You can see there's already a little bit of damage, and now we definitely want to avoid that.
To pull it all the way over here, but the minute you start pulling here, it jumps
flips
up here.
Yeah.
So when you're with 2 people, one can hold it here in place while the other one does the walk, and it just makes it a whole lot easier.
All right, let's do this. So we have the logo outside, Float Life. This looks like a handy feature. It's a hand pump to get air in the tire. Really easy, you can set the PSIs, you can let the air out or in. Let's get some slime in there. I got the blue slime. Apparently the red one is better, but this will do just fine. Don't cut the hole of the slime too big, because otherwise it gets messy. So half a bottle, and once you ride, it just spreads out into the tire. About time to get this thing back together, and Lars has some useful tips. So Lars, go ahead.
So since we left the battery wires connected, we're going to put the tire in the middle and then lift the rails up, since this cable has to be on the underside of the hub. So lift it gently, slide it in there, this cable also in the rails, and there we go. And then when you get in, just hand tighten these. And then the same at the other side, just hand tighten them. Always make sure that the holes line up properly before you start tightening them, and never tighten one before the other. Always make sure that they're hand tight all together, and then start screwing them one by one. Always very important to keep that thread alive. Lars also mentioned that it's very important to keep the cable right in place in the rail so that you don't get any damaged cables. So that's the next thing I like to do before tightening these. I like to plug the cables back in, just because at this point you still have a little bit of space to work with. Just slide it back in till you hear a click. Then this one goes to the farthest hole, the black one.
Black to black, yellow to yellow.
And then this one just twists and locks into place afterwards. There you go. Then on the bottom side of this, you put back the white little clip. And then we take back our basket, so the wheel is free up in the air, and then we can start tightening the hub bolts in a crisscross pattern, nice and evenly.
So here you can see the difference. This is a black plug, yellow plug. Just connect the right colors to each other and you should be fine. So add the T-pieces before you tighten the bolts, because otherwise it's very hard to get that into place.
Make sure not to over tighten these. They're just very small screws. They don't need a lot of tension. Once you feel resistance, that's enough.
So adding back the cable clips to keep the cables in place.
And then the next step is the front foot pad.
Put the front foot pad in before the bumper?
Yes, because once you put the bumper in, it's a lot more difficult to do this connector. So first you go in underneath the black wire. You connect this one back up. So you clip that in place. Then you hold it, flip it back over. This is also why I like the basket. The basket supports the foot pad. And now from the bottom you can come with this piece. If you put this on first, you don't have the space to put your fingers there. Also, these two, don't over tighten them.
Small screws.
Because they are in a little plastic insert, and the plastic insert likes to break.
You don't want to get in trouble with these small things because they can create big issues. So, lifesavers, new tire, and this thing looks like a beast. Right. It feels nice, a bit more nimble. It holds the edge a bit better. With the Vega, you kind of, if you go too far, you tip over really easily. But this one, you can feel that there's more of a flat surface on the sides here. Vega is just, and with this one you get a little bit more edge on there, which gives you flexibility and agility. Don't want to wreck your floor. Alright, cool man. Thanks Lars for already getting this thing in place. Let's get this party started.